Good morning, guys. So this is going to be my first analysis video. I played in the Golders Green rapid play yesterday, which I've done a small walk-in video for, which I'll play in a couple of minutes. The tournament was well run as always, and the venue is very, very nice, so I highly recommend it. And there was a very good turnout. I rarely play in opens. I usually play in the section just below the open, but because I won my section at Docklands the week before, I thought I'd take on that confidence and give myself 6 really hard games, and they were really hard. I got 1 win, 2 draws and 3 losses, but the moral of the day was very odd. I was winning. I mean, winning's a strong word when it comes to chess, especially rapid play, because the time control is a lot shorter than you're used to. This tournament is 25 minutes plus 5. But I was a pawn up in 3 games. 2 of those games I lost, and 1 of them I drew. Now, the game I won, I was a pawn down. So the moral of the day is, don't go a pawn up, ever. Just go a pawn down and win. And then the draw in the last round was actually very satisfying, because he was 2,000 and something, and it was a really sharp Nadorf, but he used all his time up, and I had a nice comfortable position at the end. But it was very like one move, I had to find a move. If I didn't find that move, spank. If I don't find that move, spank. Lots of spankings, pretty nasty really for a Saturday evening. Anyway, with much further ado, before I go into the game analysis of the game I actually did pretty well in, obviously I'm giving the result away now, but I'll go through the psychology of the game, because I certainly was not winning all the way through. There was lots of ups and downs. But anyway, so here's the video of me walking into the venue. So bear with while I find the right button.
So I'm on my way to the new Golders Green chess tournament. It's moved. It's not too far away from where it was before. I got off at Swiss Cottage, and it was I had the choice between a 113 and a 13 to get here, which took about 12 to 15 minutes.
Those are buses, by the way.
You can also, I passed Finchley Road, so you can get off there as well, if that line's easier for you. I've decided to enter the open, so no easy games today. We've got an IM and 2 FIDE Masters at the very least.
The IM didn't turn up.
Plus quite a few 2,000 plus rated players. This is what the venue looks like. If I can work out how to switch the camera, which is not going to let me do. No? Okay, well I'm going to turn the phone like old fashioned. So that's the venue. Looks very nice, very big, much bigger than the older venue. So let's go and have a look, see if we can find some chess people. I'm not sure if I go through the front door or the side door. Oh, front door's open, so off we go. It's the front door. Right, now I want to walk in and see lots of chessboards. Otherwise, I'm here to pray.
I laugh at my own jokes.
Oh, yep, I see lots of chessboards. Chessboards everywhere.
You know it, you know it.
I can't believe I found the place. This is Adam.
Well done.
Say hello, Adam.
Well done.
He's the organiser.
At least 5 players here, so
That is a lot of space. We're not used to this as chess players.
you like it.
So here we go. I'll let you know at the end of the tournament how it goes. Hello, everyone.
Oh,
So I'm on my way.
double plate, double money. Right. So into the game. As I said, this was the, I can't remember what round, 3rd or 4th round. I'm not sure if I had lunch yet. Lunch is important in chess, because when you take your lunch break, you're instantly tired afterwards, so your next round's going to be tough. I think this was just after lunch. Might explain the beginning of this game, because I seem to feel like I should try and blow my opponent off the board. And as in previous streams, everyone knows I hate the perk, so I usually go a bit psycho when I see it come across the board. And in this, like, my opponent, I think, I don't know, it just felt like he was teasing me. Let's go through the beginning moves. Are pretty straightforward perk moves, or Pierce, as people like to call it. I don't want to upset perk purists too much. Anyhow, so it's pretty standard. I'm going for a 150 attack, which is basically you drop your bishop in after your queen up, you run Harry up the board, bing bang bosh, checkmate. And it's a very simple plan, but it works. But my opponent, he was a bit sneaky. This move's okay. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the computer evaluation too much, but it gives you a gist of how accurate the game was. And as I said previously, rapid play games, I mean, they go up and down and all over the place. So I'd ignore that computer eval completely, really, because anything could happen, even -10 to +10. I didn't play bishop f4. No, I wanted to. I don't know. Maybe in deuce f6, possibly. I mean, it's never going to happen. I'm not too fussed about him pushing my bishop back to this square. That's okay, because at some point, not straight away, but I want to play f3. Oh, my arrows! The arrows! F3, and then the knight hopefully can't come into here. I mean, I'd probably have to get my bishop back somewhere. I need to cover this square, but if I can get f3 and in g4, h4, I'm a happy man. So I wasn't too fussed about this bishop knight move, basically. I don't need to make the moves because I've already pre-put the game in. This is where I'll do a little tangents at points where I could have gone or should have gone, but we'll see. Anyway, that was forced, so there's no problems there. c6. This is where I'm thinking. Hang on a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces not developed, and a knight. Okay, it's developed, but I can kick it. Just as I say, f3 is a mistake because I don't control this square. So my natural plan of just bing bang bosh isn't happening just yet. So we just attack that knight, threatening to win it. Obviously there's 2 pieces attacking and only 1 defending. He defends. I don't really have any interest in... if I take, he takes back with a bishop. Then I can play f3, but the bishop just retreats. Okay, g4 maybe later, but not really getting anywhere. Knight f3 is another option, but I'm thinking, where's the knight going to go after I kick it, which is what I play. I mean, you can see it on the screen, but I thought he might come back here. I don't know why I thought that, because when he drops it back to where he does drop it back, I was like, oh, right, can I not just take that, ruin his pawn structure? He's got no development. I've got 1 move to make to complete my development. Surely I'm doing really well here. But I am very optimistic, and then I get very pessimistic very quickly. So as far as I'm concerned, this is going really well for me, and my opponent's moving fairly slow up to this point as well, so I've gained a little bit of a time advantage already, which is ridiculous on move 8. But anyway, I took it, as I say, which is obviously as the computer's screaming at us, no, don't do it. But you know, in my head I was thinking, oh, at some point bishop's going to be here if he castles. This is possibly weak. My knight can come out, possibly sacrifice itself here. Well, it's not even a sack if the king's here. But, you know, I was feeling pretty optimistic, and I thought his pawn structure was just a mess. On the king side, I thought, yeah, this is all going to be good. But I totally overestimated my chances, and my opponent outplays me for this part of the game. But let's go on anyway. So I complete my development, feeling quite happy. As I say, I've got 3 pieces out. Happy days. He's still got all his pieces at home. So all I need to do is get my queen up, castle queenside, and slaughter him. Well, that was the idea anyway. Spanner in the works. Instant spanner. I have no dark square bishop. My simple plan of queen up's gone. Queen d3 is also pointless because at the end of the day he controls these 2 squares. No castling queenside. Now a sensible player would do what the computer's just said, and that is to castle kingside. And I'm not really that kind of player. I think you've probably noticed that. So as I said earlier, I was already thinking about this pawn here and potential weakness here after knight here to try and take here. And I thought, well, he hasn't developed yet, so I can redistribute my bishop to a better diagonal. Because the other thing is, now he doesn't have bishop here either, because I'll just take it. And then he'll have a lot of pawns all lined up, all targets, which I'd love, basically. So I thought I was being pretty clever here. Computer obviously saying, no, you weren't. I didn't know this at the time. This is the fun of playing chess over the board. You just have no idea. You just have a feel like, oh yeah, this is alright. Unfortunately, he probably had that feeling too. And as I say, this bishop was a real spanner in the works. So, oh my word. Sorry, bear with. I've tapped on something. Get me back to where I was. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so that was my thinking, but unfortunately, yes, bishop h6 was a good move. Castles, and I was thinking, well, now we've got what I was talking about the whole time. But then I started thinking, hang on a minute, this bishop's not defended, and I do have a rook already lined up with it. I was thinking, what's a quick way to get through to that bishop? There we go, straight in. Now, as I say, I mean, at this point, I've got to say, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a nice quick game, which is good because I was a bit tired from a lovely toasty cheese and mushroom toasted sandwich I'd had from Costa. I'm not sponsored by Costa, but it was tasty, so I recommend. Bit expensive, but never mind. So straight in, obviously I'm thinking takes. I'm on his bishop. It's got to move his bishop somewhere. I don't know where he's going to pull it, but eventually I'm going to get my queen onto the H file and checkmate him. Somehow the teleporting queen gets over to here. I'm not sure how, but that's what I was going to work out. He just took. So I was like, oh yeah, this is working out perfectly. How can I not be absolutely crushing him here? Like I say, the over-optimism in chess is ridiculous sometimes. And he plays the right move, which is just defend the bishop. And I'm like, well, can I take that bishop? I'm thinking, yeah, let's sacrifice a rook. That'd be good. And he just says king takes. And I'm like, oh, yeah, how do I get over it? Okay, so then I've got queen check. And then he's got quite a few choices. Just king back will do. And then funny enough, even after I castle, he can actually control the H file quicker than I can. So that's not good, and I'll be exchanged down. So I just like, no sacking the rook yet. Keep it in mind though, because you never know. Maybe in the future, sacking the rook would be a good idea. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So because that rook sack was, I was thinking, it's just not going to happen. I was trying to be really clever here. Don't try to be clever in chess. Just play good moves. Trying to be clever is where you really do yourself in. I was thinking, pawn up. Yeah. That's great. So he's obviously not going to take with a bishop because I'll just do knight takes bishop, and I'm pretty sure his dark squares should cause a lot of trouble for him. But that's obviously the be all and end all because I suspected he'd take with the best piece, which is the pawn. Then I was like, oh, that's fine, because then finally, thinking I'm clever, I can get my queen out, because if he ever plays pawn down to attack the queen just takes the bishop. I'm so smart. Then I can, because he can't do that, I'm thinking, yeah, castle, double up, rooks. Oh man, I'm just totally destroying him. This is fun, and I get to sack a pawn as well. I think I'm Mikhail Tau / Paul Morphy. No, you can just take it, because I overlooked some tactics. Here I go, all happy. Oh, I'll just attack your knight. Oh right, does that matter? I'm like, can I not give that knight up? That should be okay, shouldn't be any issues there. Or I could just move the knight somewhere, I was like, I haven't got that many squares. I'm not sure I can actually move that knight. Alright, I seem to have managed to let him defend quite well here, Even like, I have to bear in mind that if I castle and this knight moves somewhere, g4, and he actually potentially can win the queen with a pin. Obviously I have to make a couple more moves, like defend the bishop one more time, etc. Or even just drop the bishop back, and that's the same difference, because now there's no threat on here. So again, I can't castle queenside. And I'm just like, that's not what I was planning at all. So heroic retreat, thinking, okay, I can block it, and now both bishops are blocked. I can castle. No, I still can't castle. It's just ridiculous. Tactics just work for him. Watch what happens. So I'm attacking his bishop. Bishop drops back. I'm like, okay, now's the time to castle. So what happens if I castle? Castles. Oh, this again. Why is it? I don't know why this keeps popping up, but it is annoying. Okay. So now I'm going to castle. Oh, I wonder if I can just do it without. No, I want to try and talk it through. And then obviously if I've castled, then I'm laughing my head off, right? Because you know rook's going to come over to the G file. I'll get something F4, F5. I'll tear him apart. But no, no, because it doesn't work tactically. And I'm just yeah, that's why. Because now the bishop, as I said earlier, blocks the attack on the dark square bishop. So if I castle now, he just plays G4, which stops F4. Because if F4, then he just takes en passant, and basically the bishop skewers the queen and the king. So I still can't get out of trouble here, and now I'm really regretting my decisions to go gung-ho and not really look at concrete variations and just playing what I consider natural attacking moves. You find out in open tournaments that people sort of laugh in your face, really. Anyhow, so I still can't castle queenside. So I block one of the diagonals, thinking, okay, well, it's not ideal, but maybe now I can drop my knight in. If he ever takes it, I can take back with a pawn. That bishop's finally blocked. I can castle queenside. I so want to castle queenside, but it never happens, unfortunately. I've ruined that part of it. I never castle queenside. My opponent just keeps me in a box. Not only is he attacking the queen, he's also threatening this queen check, which is just devastating. I'm just going to get absolutely toasted. So I think the next move for me is forced, even though I didn't play it to the right square by looks of things. I wanted to stop that check. And yes, F5, thanks computer. I might turn it off for a bit. Nah, it's no fun, is it? Actually, yeah, I'll do it before the move is suggested, just because maybe I'll give you guys a chance. But F5 would have destroyed me. I mean, let's face it. Rook and queen, he just takes or whatever. It's opening up. Bishop's going to absolutely murder an uncastled king. And the irony of the situation is, I've opened my king up for him to attack me. Look, okay, I was going on about his development. Only his knight's not developed. He doesn't need them because all of these pieces are very strong. He didn't play F5. He played queen here. Now, he had a couple of moves actually. I was also worried about just bishop here because you can just sneak in and again pin my king and queen. So there's lots of things that, and then also the advantage of and why he picked queen here is because he's also threatening pawn down, which forks two pieces. Also threatens to simplify when he's just a pawn up, because he just swaps queens and he's just a pawn up. But I was feeling a lot more calm that, you know, there's no, he did no breaks here at all, and I started playing a little bit better here. I was thinking, okay, well, that if I can get rid of at least the bishop, then I'm feeling a lot better. I mean, this was, long story short, I was thinking opposite colour bishops at some point will help me either attack, defend, or in the end game, you never know, yeah? And I just have to kill his bishop pair. So, to be honest, all my moves here are pretty forced, I think. So this forces off a bit of material. Okay, my king's completely open. I can't castle. The avow is probably -2 or something. I don't know. I'm only minus 8. 0.8, sorry, not -8. That would be devastating. But yeah, I'm feeling a lot calmer now because at the end of the day, I can now start kicking the queen around at least. Maybe I can get my king to one of these two squares, swing the rook over. I've got chances. It's a rapid play game. My opponent has taken a lot of time. I'm not sure what his time was now, but I was definitely 10 minutes up around here. And time's important because you have to make decisions under pressure, which comes into the game later on. So I attack the queen, trying to get it off a diagonal. Also stops him being on this diagonal for later on. Maybe mates here if my queen moves and stuff like that. So I thought he would try and keep the queens on. So I either move his queen here or just back, you know, and consolidate his position. But he's quite right. He's a pawn up. So he goes for swapping queens. Now, this is not good for me, obviously. I'm a pawn down. He's got one move to develop, which is knight d7, which is one move. But my king is in the centre. I do have one rook lined up with his king. His passed pawn, unfortunately, right now is way too far back, and it is covering his king. And there's enough pieces on the board where he can't just walk his king into my position and queen that. So there's a lot of fighting to come. I swap off the queen because I think I've got more chances in the endgame. I really do. And as I say, I do have a light square bishop versus a dark square bishop. It is important. You should always bear this stuff in mind when you come to swapping minor pieces off. I just want to spoil it. It doesn't go to a bishop of opposite colour ending just before you think that I'm trying to show off and say, oh, I knew it would go that way. No, not at all. This is just general thoughts what I had during the game. Just move the king up, try and bring it into the centre. Obviously now I can bring my rook into the game. I've got a target, so my play from here was pretty straightforward in my eyes. Obviously he's just developing. That's it. He's finished developing now. Now he has to start thinking about his pawn getting down the board. So I'm not even bothered about that pawn. I just want to get my pieces active. So I attack with tempi. The bishop has to move because I'm attacking the bishop. Pawn down. I'll just take the bishop because it's pinned. Can't go here. 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 So there's obvious move for him. Obvious and only. It's actually pretty annoying. Though it looks like it's suddenly turned into a little bit of a worse bishop because it's only really controlling this diagonal. It is defending this rook in a lot of lines, which is annoying because my plan is to double up rooks and at some point maybe sneak through to the back. So that bishop actually was a bit frustrating for me. So as I say, I'm just going to double up my position. He's gaining time on my bishop. Fine. Luckily, skillfully, whatever way you want to look at it, I was always controlling d5. So there was no. See, if he got d5 in, I might be in a bit of trouble. But for now, at least I control it. Just drop the bishop back. It was attacked. Okay, he wants that bishop. I don't know if he wanted me to play a3 at some point and drop the bishop back again, but it's not active. Let's face it. This is my target, as I said before. So now I've got 3 pieces attacking, and he's only got 2 defenders. So he just pushed the pawn, and I was like, yeah, right. He pushed the pawn. It's not a target anymore. Quite easy to defend, really. But it's not the time to panic. The time to keep getting active. Like the bishop's now not really hitting anything, but there is a nice square here, and I can follow it up with d5, and it'd be a difficult bishop to move. Remember what I was saying about opposite colour bishops, so only the knight can really attack the bishop, so I just got to keep an eye on it. Now the only downside of playing bishop here straight away is after rook over, pawn up, at the end of it my pawn's not defending the pawn because the rook is now pinning the bishop against the king. So before I drop the bishop in, and I still have time because he hasn't played a4 yet, I move my king out the way. That's literally what that move was. And at some point, if I can ever get these pawns to move out of the way, the king's in the right place to do something. As I say, these two are probably... Oh, it's not impossible to push, but they're hard to push at the moment because I have a fair bit of pressure here. And I wasn't going to worry too much about his plan because my number one plan was, I know I'm a pawn down, I've just got to get my pieces into the most active squares I can. So yeah, he carries on. I'm not really sure. I think he possibly underestimated how annoying my bishop on e6 is, because it's hard to move. It's simple as that. And now the bishop is also helping cover the king side. So the pawns again a little bit more awkward to push. So I'm very happy now my bishop's here. As you can see, the computer val's gone down from a pawn down to 0.7. I'm still not in a good place, but my opponent, again, is really low on time here. He probably has about 5 minutes left. I have 15 minutes left, something like that. And I'm playing with at least some sort of plan. You know, I want to cement the bishop onto e6. And then start moving the pawns on the queen side. Try and make some weaknesses. See if my king can sneak in. Who knows? This pawn is a little bit overextended as well, you know, so okay, it's defended twice now, but maybe I can eventually get a knight into this square. It's not impossible, which you will see because obviously the game does develop on. Attacks the bishop, defends the bishop, takes. Now I have this square. As you can see, the computer val's really dropped down, and I felt good here, I've got to say. From my over-optimism to thinking I'm getting crushed to feeling calm again. Especially with a time advantage, I can't go on about that enough because it's a rapid play game and time advantage is massive in rapid play. even though there's a 5-second increment, you're not going to make perfect moves with just 5 seconds to think about it. The only time that ever happens is if it's forcing, and in this position it's not forcing. There's lots of moves that can happen, which is why my opponent wasted even more time. So he's trying to get his pawns to move down the board, which is totally fine. I was considering maybe wasting a bit of time, move my rooks onto the G file. Maybe I can get a pin and win, but I think he just moves his king, so he has other problems in this position. And a move that's obviously everyone's shouting at is knight b5, because I'm attacking this pawn. I'm potentially dropping here or here, and I'm maybe swapping the bishop out and getting some sort of fork. So knight b5 for the first time in the game, apart from right at the opening when I was apparently crushing until I just decided to swap very casually my bishop for his knight. I have a slight edge, but with the time I'm a definite plus here. And in time trouble he actually plays fairly well. So defends the pawn. Obviously it was attacked, but again I've noted now that there's a fork everywhere if I can get a knight there. So Operation Knight move is full go. I'm also considering if there's any sacks here at some point, because I am attacking this square a lot of times. And there's only 2 pieces over here, so it's quite possible there would be a mate with 2 rooks and a knight. So maybe sacking the bishop, taking with check. You know, there's stuff here. And especially when he played king there, I was like, and I almost played it. I almost just played it without thinking. I nearly played just bishop takes, and I was thinking, well, I'm attacking the bishop. I'm going to take something with an undiscovered check. Oh, this is great. And this is where I ate up about 7 minutes, because it feels like there's a forcing something here, but it just isn't. And a lot of it's to do with the bishop defending the rook, because after I sack something in check, the king, wherever the king goes, this is defended so many times. So I couldn't think of how to break through straight away. I just was hoping that at some point there'll be something more obvious. And my plan, because as I said earlier, my king here is to get my pawns up the board, because I have 4 against 3 over here. Okay, he has 2 passed pawns, but I feel they're really difficult to move due to where his king is and where my rooks are. So that's what I basically got on with. Potentially, as you see, the computer's dropped it back down to level. Maybe not the best move, but at least there's a plan. You know, I've got something to do, so I can move with a little bit of pace, because I know what my idea is. I want to get the pawns up, somehow get my king up into this square, and I should be winning. And as I say, my opponent's really, and I keep saying as I say, is really low on time. So I'm definitely happy to be at least having an idea of where I'm going to go. I've got C4, you know, B4. Just go for it. Just try and run him over while it's difficult to make his pawns move. So he comes back with the knight. The knight was doing nothing. He's also threatening to fork and, you know, be a very good piece on e5. So I can't allow that. And as I say, I'm quite happy to also get my knight into here at some point. So I kill the dangerous knight, which is good and bad, because obviously I've now lost my only piece that could only be challenged by that knight. And the bishop, if it ever becomes active, may outplay the knight because it's an open position. The only on the plus side, you know, plus minus is the knight does still control light squares where the bishop doesn't, which may or may not come into the game. So he takes back. I stick my knight into what I consider the most active square. Covers a lot of dark squares. I mean, the bishop still can go a lot further, so he can get out of the scope of the knight. And this does help him develop his rook, funny enough. And this is what I mean also about rapid play, is that the games can go very much up and down. Because of the time, and you know, chess is hard. If you can make a 1 move blunder that'll make you -3, -4, you can drop a piece without even blinking, especially when the time's pressure. And I am playing on my opponent's time now. I'm thinking, well, you've only got a minute left here, and there's a lot of play. I'm quite happy to play on, regardless of whether it's even or not even. I mean, at this point, I still felt like I was winning because I still had a straightforward plan in my eyes. And I was thinking, I just don't see how he moves these pawns. So his rook move here not only takes it out of being attacked, he's also trying to get active. Admittedly, you probably think, well, I guess it doesn't really work behind this pawn because you can't push this pawn while my rooks are on this pawn. So he's trying to get activities a different way. So I get on with my plan. Just chuck the c-pawn down the board. I thought it was going to be a rook check. I was like, that doesn't matter. I'm just going to walk my king over. It's all going to be fine. I wasn't thinking too much about this move, but this actually has a little bit of danger because as soon as I move my king, I was like, so I've already lost time. I mean, computer says -1. I'm not sure it is. I'm sure there's a lot of moves. I would imagine I could just come back, and it's not the end of the world. Especially with him like 30-40 seconds. He's getting 5 seconds each time he moves, but it's pressure. And he misses it. He misses bishop d2, which is good for me. And the king runs. And funny enough, look, I'm still apparently worse here, but I'm just thinking, well, how's he stopping this? He's really, really low on time here. Maybe he's in the 10 seconds left. And I've still got probably 10 minutes. So I was moving quite slow here, just to make the pressure build up. Psychology. Don't move quick just to run your opponent out of time. Let them have time to think about it, and they'll overthink, and then they'll see ghosts. That was my thinking, and I know because I've been in that situation myself many times. So in comes the bishop check. Probably a couple of moves too late. I'm like, how am I not winning this? Computers are horrible. I don't like computers. Look at that. I'm still a pawn down here. But I was thinking, yeah, I'm charging through. Okay, he's trying to get his rook active. It can't go back. It can't go to here. So he's trying to bring it back to e8. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to get on with my pawn push. Why not? Like a natural move, activating the rook to bring the rook out. And it's suddenly level again. It's crazy. Chess and endgames. So again, as I say, my plan was really straightforward. Just push the pawns. How can I not be winning this? My pawns can move. His can't move. Surely. And yet it's a dead level position. But the clock is ticking. He rushes the king over, which is finally a mistake by the computer, even though I thought I was actually winning here. King up, and he lost on time. He had 1 second, and he pressed the clock just as that second disappeared. But it's funny, is he ran out of time on the time when I was actually winning the game. But there you go. So that's my first analysis game. I know it was a bit rambling. I'll get better at it. The tournament was really fun, and once again well organised by Adam. I highly recommend you go to all of his competitions because they're all very similar. As I say, you meet the same people, and it's a nice bunch that play chess. You know, you feel at home because they've got the same hobby as you, and generally people have a lot of time to talk about positions. So you'll learn a lot just by turning up. But that's the video done now. So thanks very much for listening through all that. And I'll be playing some more chess online very shortly. You can subscribe to me, that'd be great, on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. I'm ChessPatzer UK on there.